We come to you guys with some breaking wrestling news and speculation, firstly regarding the shocking news coming out of last night regarding the latest batch of WWE releases following SmackDown, which included the likes of Jinder Mahal, Veer, Sangha, and Zion Quinn. Now, out of these latest WWE releases, Jinder Mahal would definitely have to be the most shocking, and it's not just because Jinder's a former WWE and United States champion, but more so the fact that Jinder's release is sort of coming out of left field, as the most recent things Jinder did in WWE were quite big, having that massive segment with The Rock to start off 2024 on the Raw Day 1 show, and then getting himself a World Heavyweight Championship match against Seth Rollins just 2 weeks later in the main event of Raw, and at the time, a lot of wrestling fans thought there was a legitimate possibility that Jinder Mahal could have won the World Heavyweight Championship from Seth Rollins, to kind of recreate the last shocking time when Jinder won a world title out of nowhere, and fans were very concerned for Seth during that match. And the atmosphere in the building that night was so intense because, again, lots believed there was a good chance Jinder was going to be winning the World Heavyweight title from Rollins. Ultimately, Rollins ended up retaining his title over Jinder, but that was a big opportunity for Jinder, and lots felt like WWE and Triple H were going to be giving Jinder Mahal a push after that point, at least in the mid-card scene on Raw, especially considering all the hype surrounding Jinder after the comments from AEW president Tony Khan, who blasted WWE for giving Jinder the title match with Seth when he was on a losing streak, which only made Jinder more popular with fans. However, WWE never capitalized on the attention and hype surrounding Jinder, and he was used very sparingly following that Raw main event match for Seth's World Heavyweight title. Now, Seth Rollins did injure himself during his title defense against Jinder back in January, so that has led some fans to believe that Jinder being involved in the match that injured their world champion could have caused WWE to sour on the idea of pushing Jinder, but Seth's injury in that match wasn't Jinder's fault at all, so we hope that isn't the reason for WWE deciding to take Jinder off of television when it comes to any meaningful appearances and then releasing him last night. The other releases from last night weren't all that surprising, although we can say that Lee had a lot of potential that will now go unrealized in WWE, although she will definitely find success outside of WWE in another promotion like TNA Wrestling or AEW for sure, so Lee will definitely rebound from her release and maybe return eventually after rebuilding her career elsewhere. Zion Quinn was an aspiring superstar that we believed had some potential as well, and at one point it seemed like a possibility that he would eventually get added to the Bloodline faction, although that never ended up happening, so hopefully Zion Quinn finds some success elsewhere should he decide to continue wrestling. Now there was an update provided by One Source Fightful Select regarding the reason behind these latest WWE releases, and it's apparently the usual reason: budget cuts. Here was the detailed response from Fightful regarding these releases, quote, WWE had their latest round of releases on April 19th. Fightful's Sean Ross Sapp confirmed that Indus, Sher, Jinder Mahal, Sangha, Veer, Lee, and Zion Quinn were all released by the company. Internally, the releases were cited as budget cuts, though we're not sure what was indicated to talent. The talent were informed Friday evening. When we asked around about the cuts, Fightful were told by WWE higher-ups that it was a combination of not appearing on television due to creative not having anything for the talent, as well as upward trajectory based on progression and how long they'd been with the company. Several wrestlers at SmackDown found out about the releases as the news filtered in. Unlike some occasions in the past, there were not memos sent out to talent or staff that announced the releases, so talent still on the roster found out as they became public knowledge. WWE no longer publicly announce releases, and haven't for years. We've not had it confirmed that this is all of the releases, though other outlets have claimed it was. We've also not confirmed the nature of the contact made with the talent. Outside of that, it was via a phone call Friday. Jinder Mahal was at NXT recently, and Corey Brennan is told that he was very helpful and willing to give advice to anyone that wanted it. It was clarified to Sean Ross Sapp that Mahal's departure was a release, as opposed to him quitting. Lee worked directly with Shawn Michaels on her story with Lyra Valkyria, and was actually advertised for this Monday's World Title Battle Royal. When Fightful asked about that, we're told the graphics team had not been made privy to the details of the release. Ultimately, we didn't hear of any situations of heat that would have contributed to the releases, and generally the talent let go appeared to be well liked. Now, while some believe the releases or budget cuts this year for WWE are over with, one of our insider sources has reported that spring cleaning in WWE has only just begun, and that more firings or releases are going to be coming soon, with some of the names possibly being included in the next batch of roster cuts reportedly being a lot more shocking than the likes of Jinder Mahal, who's a former WWE champion in his own right, with our insider source reporting, quote, "So a lot of fans are wondering if the April 19th batch of WWE releases is it, or if Triple H and other high-ranking WWE executives plan more roster cuts in the coming days. And what we know right now is that the roster cuts aren't over by any means, and we're just getting started really with the budget cuts, and from what we've heard is that the recent cuts are the smaller names of who WWE could be planning to release during the annual spring cleaning this year, which makes it clear that some major stars could be leaving in 2024. A lot of major WWE stars' contracts are set to expire this year, and for WWE to be able to afford increasing the contract value of some of their key names whose deals are coming up soon, such as Becky Lynch, Seth Rollins, and Drew McIntyre, WWE need to clean up their roster a bit and get rid of some of the talent who are making lots of money but aren't being utilized much on television or factoring into the plans and creative, and some of the names we've heard that are at the very least at risk of getting released next include the likes of Alexa Bliss, who's currently out of WWE on a maternity leave, and there's no word on when she would be back. Braun Strowman is reportedly another major star at risk of getting cut if the whole new Wyatt family storyline doesn't end up happening due to his high contract value and the lack of plans WWE have for him. Shinsuke Nakamura is another guy who could be released this year, as is Rey Mysterio, but for Rey, it's more to do with the fact that he's retiring soon, and WWE won't be renewing his current deal and could choose to release him early, and the other big name we've heard is former women's champion Nia Jax. Those are the bigger names, and there's apparently a bunch of smaller names being considered as well to be cut, but the bottom line here is that there reportedly will be more cuts soon, and fans shouldn't be surprised if some big names are saying goodbye to WWE this spring. So by the looks of it, WWE aren't anywhere close to being done with the spring releases this year for 2024, and some massive names could be included in the next batch of roster cuts, and out of the names we have been informed of that are at risk of being released next, including the likes of Braun Strowman, Alexa Bliss, and Rey Mysterio, who do you feel would be the most surprising release, and do you guys think there are any other major stars who could be getting fired or released that we didn't mention? As well, give us your thoughts on the names WWE have already parted ways with yesterday, including Jinder Mahal and the rest of Indus Sher. Well guys, that's it for today's major wrestling news. Make sure you leave a like and comment, and also make sure you subscribe to the channel with notifications turned on so you'll never miss out on an episode. Finally, if you haven't already, give us a follow on Twitter at TSE Wrestling, and we will see you guys in the next video.